The tortoise and the feast in the sky. Long, long ago, when the world was still young, all the birds of the sky were invited to a grand feast hosted by the sky god. The news spread like wildfire. There would be food of all kinds, music, dancing, and joy. The tortoise, who was known throughout the land for his cleverness and tricky, heard about this and thought to himself, "Ah, a feast in the sky? That is where I must be. I cannot miss such a grand occasion." But there was one problem. Tortoise could not fly. So he went to his friends, the birds, and said with his sweetest voice, "My good friends, I too would love to attend this feast in the sky. But at last I have no wings. Surely one of you kind-hearted birds will help a poor soul like me." The birds whispered among themselves. Some said no. They knew the tortoise was a trickster, but the tortoise pleaded so earnestly, promising he would behave well and not cause any trouble, that they finally agreed. Each bird gave him one feather, and with the help of the parrot, they made a pair of beautiful wings. The tortoise strapped them on, and for the first time lifted off the ground. He laughed joyfully as he flew with the birds into the sky. The feast begins. When they arrived at the Sky Kingdom, they saw long tables filled with food, roasted yams, spicy stew, fresh fruits, honey, and palm wine. The tortoise's eyes nearly popped out. Before they began eating, the Sky King said, "Welcome, visitors from the earth. This feast is for all of you. But before you eat, tell us, to whom shall we serve first?" The tortoise, ever cunning, stood up quickly and said, "Your Majesty, we have all taken new names for this journey. My name is All of You." The birds looked at him suspiciously, but said nothing. So when the food was served, the Sky King announced, "This meal is for all of you." And the tortoise smiled widely and said, "Ah, that is me, all of you." He moved forward and began to eat greedily. Every time the Sky King said, "Serve all of you," the tortoise claimed it was his name. He ate and ate until he was full, leaving only crumbs for the birds. The birds were angry and humiliated, but they waited quietly until it was time to return to earth. The fall of the tortoise. When the feast was over, the tortoise said cheerfully, "Friends, let us return home." But one by one, the birds took the feathers they had lent him. The parrot, who had given the most beautiful feathers, said, "No, tortoise, you used your cleverness to cheat us. Now let your cleverness help you find your way back to earth." The tortoise begged and pleaded, but no one listened. They spread their wings and flew away, leaving him stranded in the sky. The tortoise looked down at the distant earth and grew afraid. But he called out to the parrot, "Please, my friend, help me send a message to my wife." Out of pity, the parrot agreed and flew to the tortoise's home. When he met Mrs. Tortoise, he said, "Your husband has asked that you bring out all the softest things in the house, mats, cloths, and sponges, and spread them outside He is coming down from the sky and wants to land safely.
But another parrot.
Angry about what Tortoise had done, decided to trick him. He told Mrs. Tortoise, "Instead, your husband said you should bring out all the hard things, mortars, pistols, grinding stones, and spread them outside. He wants to land like a king." So she did as she was told. The crash. When the tortoise looked down and saw what he thought were soft mats spread on the ground, he took a deep breath and jumped. Down, down, down he fell, faster and faster, until crash, he landed on the mortars and stones, and his beautiful smooth shell shattered into many pieces. Mrs. Tortoise cried out in horror, but she gathered the pieces and called the sky god for help. The sky god took pity on him and patched the shell together, but he could not make it smooth again. And that is why to this very day the tortoise shell is rough and covered in lines and cracks, a reminder of his greed and deceit. Moral of the story: greed and deceit bring disgrace and downfall. Wisdom without honesty becomes foolishness. Always share fairly, for selfishness breaks trust.